Osman was a truly remarkable leader. He is known as the founder of the Ottoman Empire, which would grow to be vast and powerful, lasting for over 600 years. Osman's life and his actions laid the very first stones for this great structure. He started with a small territory, a beylik, but his vision was much larger. He aimed to create a strong and lasting state. His story is one of courage, faith, and smart leadership in difficult times. The Ottoman Empire, born from Osman's efforts, became a major world power. It stretched across 3 continents at its peak, covering parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa. The influence of this empire on history is immense, shaping cultures, economies, and political landscapes for centuries. Understanding Osman is key to understanding the Ottoman Empire's beginnings. His legacy is not just in the lands he conquered, but also in the institutions and the spirit he fostered among his people. Osman's significance goes beyond just being a conqueror. He was a unifier and a state builder. In a time of fragmented power and constant conflict, he offered stability and a sense of purpose for his followers. These followers were known as Ghazi warriors, driven by faith and the desire for conquest. Osman channeled their energies effectively, transforming a small band of warriors into the nucleus of a future empire. His name, Osman, even gave the empire its name, the Ottoman Empire. This video will explore the life of Osman Ghazi. We will look at his early years and the world he was born into. We will examine his important battles and wise decisions. We will also discuss how he governed his growing territory. Finally, we will consider the lasting impact he had. His actions continued to inspire Ottoman rulers long after his death. Osman's story is a fascinating chapter in world history. It shows how one individual's determination can change the course of events. The late 13th century was a time of great change in Anatolia, the land where modern Turkey is located. The powerful Seljuk Sultanate of Rum was weakening. It had once controlled much of the region, but Mongol invasions from the east had shattered its strength. The Seljuks were now just a shadow of their former selves, with their authority fading fast. This created a power vacuum in Anatolia, where many smaller Turkish principalities called beyliks emerged, all vying for power and land. To the west lay the Byzantine Empire, also facing serious problems. The Byzantines had once been a mighty Christian empire with their capital in Constantinople, but they too were in decline. They had lost much territory over the centuries, and internal conflicts and external pressures weakened them further. Their hold on Anatolia was becoming very fragile. Byzantine borderlands were often raided by Turkish groups, and the local Byzantine lords struggled to defend their lands effectively. This made the region ripe for ambitious leaders. This period was characterized by instability and constant warfare. The beyliks fought amongst themselves for supremacy and against the remaining Byzantine territories. Nomadic and semi-nomadic Turkish tribes moved across the land, looking for pasture for their animals and opportunities for conquest. Allegiances shifted frequently, making it a complex and dangerous world, yet also full of possibilities for strong and cunning leaders. Osman was born into this challenging environment. The Ghazi tradition was very strong among these Turkish groups. Ghazis were warriors for Islam, believing it was their duty to expand the frontiers of Muslim lands. This ideology motivated many fighters who fought with religious zeal and a desire for spoils of war. Osman and his followers were part of this Ghazi movement. The weakening of both the Seljuks and the Byzantines provided fertile ground for these warriors to carve out new territories. Osman would prove to be the most successful of them all. Osman was born around the year 1258, though the exact date is not known for certain. He was the son of Ertugrul Ghazi, the leader of the Kai tribe. The Kai were one of many Oghuz Turkish tribes that had migrated westward from Central Asia, moving ahead of the Mongol invasions. Tradition says the Kai tribe was brave and noble, known for their horsemanship and fighting skills, which were essential for survival on the turbulent Anatolian frontier. Ertugrul Ghazi is a legendary figure himself, said to have led his small tribe into Anatolia seeking service with the Seljuk Sultan. The Sultan supposedly granted Ertugrul and his tribe lands near the Byzantine border around Sogut and Domanik, a strategic area on the very edge of the Seljuk and Byzantine worlds. Life here was tough, requiring constant vigilance and readiness for battle. Osman grew up in this frontier environment, learning the ways of a warrior from a young age. The Kai tribe under Ertugrul lived a semi-nomadic life, moving between summer and winter pastures, raising sheep and other livestock, but they were also warriors, frequently clashing with Byzantine forces and raiding Byzantine territories. This constant warfare shaped Osman's worldview, teaching him the importance of military strength and leadership, lessons he learned from his father. Ertugrul was respected for his bravery and wisdom, managing to keep his tribe united and relatively secure in difficult times. When Ertugrul died, around 1281, Osman was a young man ready to take on new responsibilities. The exact details of Osman's succession are debated by historians. Some say it was a smooth transition, while others suggest he had to compete with other family members. What is clear is that Osman eventually emerged as the new leader, inheriting his father's legacy, and the challenging task of leading the Kai tribe, ensuring their survival and prosperity on a dangerous frontier. A famous story associated with Osman is his dream, a cornerstone of Ottoman foundation myths. According to legend, Osman was once staying in the house of a respected holy man, Sheikh Edebali, whom Osman greatly admired and sought guidance from. One night, while resting there, Osman had a powerful dream. In his dream, a moon rose from Sheikh Edebali's chest and entered Osman's own chest. Then a great tree sprouted from Osman's navel, growing larger and larger, with branches spreading out to cover the entire world. Beneath the tree, mountains appeared, and rivers flowed from the bases of these mountains. People drank from these rivers, watered their gardens, and built cities. The leaves of the tree were shaped like swords, and a wind began to blow, turning the leaves towards the great city of Constantinople. This city, located at the junction of two seas and two continents, glittered like a diamond, seeming to be the ring of a vast global dominion. When Osman awoke, he told Sheikh Edebali about his dream. The wise sheikh listened carefully and interpreted the dream as a divine sign. He told Osman that God had chosen him and his descendants to rule a great empire. The moon represented Sheikh Edebali's daughter, whom he then gave in marriage to Osman, further solidifying Osman's legitimacy and linking him to a respected religious lineage. The tree symbolized the empire Osman would found. This dream became a powerful narrative for the Ottomans, providing a sense of divine purpose and legitimacy. It suggested that their conquests were not mere accidents, but part of a grand plan ordained by God. The dream was retold for generations, inspiring Ottoman rulers and soldiers, strengthening their resolve and belief in their destiny. While historians debate the dream's historical accuracy, its importance as a foundational story is undeniable, shaping the identity and ideology of the nascent Ottoman state and giving them a vision of a world-spanning empire. Ascension to leadership. Osman takes the helm. After the death of his father Ertugrul, Osman faced the challenge of leadership. He was still a relatively young man. He had to prove himself to the elders and warriors of the Kai tribe. Tradition suggests that his uncle, Dunda Bey, was also influential. Dunda was more cautious than the ambitious Osman. There might have been some tension between them regarding the tribe's direction. Osman was eager to expand their territory. He wanted to launch more aggressive campaigns against the Byzantines. Dunda preferred a more careful approach. Osman's charisma and bravery soon won him strong support. Many young warriors were drawn to his bold vision. He was known for his fairness and generosity. These qualities helped him consolidate his authority. He gradually became the undisputed leader of the Kai. He began to gather around him a loyal following. This included other Turkish warriors and even some Byzantine defectors. These individuals were attracted by the prospect of conquest and spoils under Osman's command. His leadership style was hands-on and inspiring. One of the key aspects of Osman's rise was his ability to unite different groups. He did not rely solely on his own tribe. He forged alliances with other Turkish chieftains and Ghazi groups. He understood that unity was crucial for success. He offered them a share in the rewards of their joint ventures. This inclusive approach broadened his power base. It allowed him to mobilize larger forces for his campaigns. His reputation as a successful Ghazi leader grew steadily. More and more warriors flocked to his banner. There is a story about a conflict with his uncle Dunda. It is said that Dunda opposed one of Osman's daring plans. Osman, seeing this as a threat to his authority and vision, reportedly killed his uncle. This event, if true, would have been a harsh but decisive moment. It would have signaled Osman's determination to pursue his expansionist policies. It also showed that he would not tolerate opposition to his leadership. From this point on, Osman was firmly in control. He was ready to embark on a path of conquest that would change history. Forging a Beylik, early victories and expansion. Once his leadership was secure, Osman began his campaigns in earnest. His primary targets were the nearby Byzantine towns and fortresses. These areas were relatively weak and isolated. Osman's warriors were skilled in hit-and-run tactics. They were well suited for warfare in the hilly terrain of Bithynia. One of his early significant victories was the capture of Kulakahisar fortress in 1285. This victory was important. It gave Osman a strategic base. It also boosted the morale of his followers and enhanced his reputation. Over the next decade, Osman continued his steady expansion. He captured several other key locations. These included Karakahisar near Eskişehir around 1299. The capture of Karakahisar was a major step. It was a more significant town with a market. Osman reportedly converted its church into a mosque. He also appointed a Qadi or judge and a Subasi or military commander. These actions indicated his intention to establish a permanent administration. He was not just raiding, he was building a state. He began minting his own coins, a sign of growing independence. Other important conquests followed. Towns like Bileşik, Yarhisar, and Inegöl fell to Osman and his forces. Bileşik was particularly valuable. It was a prosperous town with iron mines. Control of Bileşik provided Osman with resources and weapons. Each victory brought more land, more wealth, and more followers. Osman's small territory, his Beylik, was growing steadily. He was becoming a significant power in northwestern Anatolia. His successes began to worry the Byzantines. They realized he was more than just a minor raider. A crucial battle in Osman's early career was the Battle of Baphius. It is also known as the Battle of Koyunhisar. This battle took place in 1302. Osman's forces faced a larger Byzantine army. The Byzantines had been sent to stop his advances. Osman achieved a decisive victory. This was his first major engagement against a regular Byzantine field army. The victory at Baphius greatly enhanced Osman's prestige. It attracted even more Ghazi warriors to his cause. It also opened up the plains of Bithynia to further Ottoman conquests. Principles of rule, Osman's governance and justice. Osman was not just a successful military commander, he was also a capable administrator for his time. As his territory expanded, he needed to govern it effectively. He established a simple but functional administration. He appointed trusted men to manage the newly conquered towns and regions. He understood the importance of maintaining order and security. This was essential for the prosperity of his people. It also helped to attract new settlers to his lands. His focus was on practical solutions. A key principle of Osman's rule was justice. He was known for his fairness. He applied the law equally to Muslims and non-Muslims. This was a wise policy. Many of the inhabitants of the lands he conquered were Greek Christians. By treating them justly, Osman encouraged them to remain. He allowed them to practice their religion and maintain their customs. This tolerance helped to stabilize his new territories. It also facilitated their integration into the growing Ottoman Beylik. People felt secure under his rule. The Ghazi warriors played a central role in Osman's state. They were the backbone of his army. They were motivated by religious zeal and the desire for booty. Osman skillfully managed these warriors. He distributed the spoils of war fairly. He also granted them lands known as taimars in the conquered territories. This system helped to create a loyal military class. It also encouraged further conquests. The Ghazi spirit was a powerful driving force behind Ottoman expansion. Osman embodied this spirit perfectly. Osman's leadership style was personal and direct. He was accessible to his people. He listened to their grievances and concerns. He led his troops in person on the battlefield. This inspired great loyalty and devotion. He lived a relatively simple life, despite his growing power. He shared the hardships of his warriors. This austerity and his focus on justice created a strong bond between Osman and his followers. These qualities were crucial in the early days of state formation. The strategic pursuit of Bursa. As Osman's power grew, he set his sights on larger, more strategic cities. One of the most important of these was Bursa. Bursa was a major Byzantine city in Bithynia. It was wealthy, well-fortified, and strategically located. Capturing Bursa would be a huge achievement. It would give the Ottomans a major urban center. It would also provide a strong base for further expansion. Osman understood the significance of Bursa. He made its conquest a long-term goal. This showed his strategic thinking. The siege of Bursa was not a quick affair. It lasted for many years, perhaps from around 1317 until 1326. Osman did not have the siege engines or the manpower to storm the city directly. Instead, he adopted a strategy of blockade. He built small forts around Bursa. These forts controlled the access routes to the city. This cut off Bursa from supplies and reinforcements. The city was slowly strangled. This long siege demonstrated Osman's patience and determination. He was willing to wait for years to achieve his objectives. During the long siege, Osman's health began to decline. He was growing old. Years of campaigning had taken their toll. He entrusted the command of the siege to his son Orhan. Orhan continued his father's strategy. The defenders of Bursa held out for as long as they could. But eventually their situation became hopeless. They were isolated and starving. The city finally surrendered to Orhan in 1326. This was a momentous victory for the Ottomans. Bursa became their new capital city. Sadly, Osman did not live to see the final capture of Bursa. He died shortly before or just after the city fell. According to tradition, he died in Sogut. He asked to be buried in Bursa. His wish was fulfilled. His tomb in Bursa became an important shrine for future Ottoman sultans. The conquest of Bursa, even though completed by his son, was a crowning achievement of Osman's reign. It marked a new phase in Ottoman history. The Ottomans were no longer just a frontier principality. They were now a significant regional power. The enduring legacy, Osman's foundation for centuries. Osman I's death around 1326 marked the end of an era, but it was also the beginning of something much larger. His legacy was profound and lasting. He had transformed a small Kai tribal group into a dynamic and expanding state. He laid the institutional and ideological foundations of the Ottoman Empire. This empire would endure for over 6 centuries. It would become one of the most powerful empires in world history. His successors built upon the strong base he had created. They continued his work with great success. The most important aspect of Osman's legacy was the state itself. He established a viable political entity. It had a clear sense of purpose and a strong military. He created a system of governance that was effective for its time. His emphasis on justice and tolerance helped to integrate diverse populations. The Ghazi ethos, which he championed, provided the driving force for expansion. His personal qualities, bravery, leadership and piety became ideals for future Ottoman rulers. They all sought to emulate Osman Ghazi. Osman's name lived on in the very name of the empire he founded. His descendants were known as the House of Osman, or the Ottomans. This dynastic continuity was a key feature of the empire's long history. The traditions and legends associated with Osman, like his dream, became part of the Ottoman imperial ideology. They provided legitimacy and inspiration. The early conquests under Osman set the direction for future Ottoman expansion. They focused on Byzantine territories first, then moved into the Balkans and beyond. In conclusion, Osman I was a pivotal figure in world history. He rose from humble beginnings to become the founder of a mighty empire. His leadership, military skill, and administrative abilities were remarkable. He operated in a challenging environment, yet he managed to carve out a state that would grow and flourish. His achievements provided the essential groundwork for his son Orhan and subsequent sultans. The Ottoman Empire, which shaped the destiny of vast regions for centuries, owes its existence to the vision and determination of Osman Ghazi. His story continues to inspire awe.